Hi, Tim Olsen here from Yamaha. I'm the Media Relations Manager. We're out here at Zaga Station with TransWorld Motocross, getting their first chance to ride the all-new 2014 YZ450F. We've made a ton of changes. You've probably heard them already. We really focused on getting the weight and the mass right in the center of the bike. So TransWorld's going to go ride it, tell you what they think. They're going to get to take it home, so they'll be having riding it for the rest of this year, and they'll, I'm sure, tell you a lot about it and what to do to go fast on one.
An empty house.
So hold my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear.
The stars creak as you sleep, it's keeping me awake.
It's the house telling you to close your eyes.
Hey, this is Rich Taylor with TransWorld Motocross. We're out here at Zaga Station riding the 2014 YZ450. For this year, you know, a lot of the companies aren't doing a lot to the bikes, but Yamaha actually took their YZ450 and kind of started from the ground up, used a lot of the technology that they had for the last few years and then added to it. They kind of took what they thought was wrong and fixed it. The most noticeable thing right off the bat is how narrow they made the front of the bike. A big complaint of me especially, but a lot of riders, was how wide the older version of this motorcycle was. It was real hard to get over the front of the bike, get into the corners. They just went and narrowed everything up and lowered everything. So the whole center mass of weight is all centered in the bike and lowered to kind of help in the corners, to kind of make it more flickable off the jumps, to just make the bike work a little bit and handle a little bit better everywhere. Really cool certain things they did with like the gas caps. You know, you pop the front of the seat off and the gas cap's right in here. Just crazy new stuff that you know, we haven't seen in the motocross industry yet. Another thing, obvious thing on the bike, is the snake wraparound crazy pipe situation they got going on. Again, this was to move a little bit of weight towards the front of the bike and just to kind of, you know, create a shorter version of the pipe, but still got the same, you know, get the same horsepower out of it. One of the first things I noticed when I got on the bike and started it was how much more quiet the bike was and how much less vibration there was. The bikes for the last couple years, you felt the vibration in the seat because the pipe was all curled up underneath here and it just vibrated and it was real loud. It was something you really needed to get used to. This bike is much more like everybody else's out there. The sound, the vibration is unbelievably better than it was before. The rubber mount, handlebar mounts, and everything they did with the pipe and everything else just creates a much better feel, a much better ride on the track, and just even in the pits. It's crazy the difference. Night and day better. So with these modifications to make all the weight and all the center of gravity and everything towards the middle and down low, it allows you to kind of get off the jumps and really kind of flick the bike and get the bike into the corners where you want to, where before the front end kind of steered itself a little bit. Now the bike is much easier to kind of get where you want to put it. I did notice that the front end is still very, very light on this motorcycle, very light. You definitely got to put the front tire where you want to put it and get it to stick to keep from maybe washing out or pushing a little bit. But once you kind of get that down, the bike is so much better than it was. You know, last year the front end would push and you'd crawl up over the front and get on it and try to get the front end to stick, and you still were fighting it. This one is completely different. Although the front end is very light, it is very easy to still get in and out of the corners. With the pipe, with the snake pipe wrapping around the cylinder, now there was a lot more room that they could, you know, put a bigger cartridge on the shock, more of a conventional type shock. Like a lot of the other bikes. We think that this is going to allow the shock to keep from getting so hot. It'll last a little bit longer, won't fade as quick. We haven't had a chance to really hammer the bike like we normally would today, but we definitely will keep you up to date on that. Everybody's going to these crazy air forks and cartridge, single cartridge, air crazy this and that. You need a bicycle pump to go riding. Yamaha stuck with the basics. I think they kind of maybe were a little bit smart with that, and they're allowing the other companies to work the bugs out before they go that way. We know air is going to be the future, but they actually stuck with kind of the conventional spring oil fork, which works really well. We because the front end is so light, we did go in a clicker rebound to kind of hold the front down in the corners, and we stiffened them up a little bit just to get around Zach a little bit better. The track's, you know, starting to get pretty rough, and we didn't have any complaints today. You know, the suspension worked really good out here. It worked well. We also messed around a little bit with the shock, just with some high-speed compression. We lessened it a little bit just to allow the rear end to settle a little bit better, just to get the tires to stick a little bit better in the corners. But real basic stuff, and the bike really ended up working very well for us. You know, last year the Yamaha motor was really good. You know, the power from bottom all the way to top, it pulled hard. There was no big gaps in it. This year, believe it or not, it's even better. The initial response of the motor is just connected a little bit better, so it gets out of the corners a little bit better, and then it still has that broad power, that broad feel. Second and third gear feel like they've actually moved them a little bit closer together, so you can, you know, before you'd shift to third and sometimes there was a little bit, it would fall off a little bit. Now it doesn't. Now it just keeps picking up. Fourth gear, they've actually extended a little bit further, and it's exactly what it needs. You just rev third a little bit longer, shift fourth, and you're gone. No complaints at all with the motor. The Yamaha 450 motor is plenty strong for me and most of us out there in stock form. So besides like this really cool air box, 3 bolts, and it's there. It's right underneath here. The gas cap, which is right underneath the seat. All this open room, super easy to get to your motor, to get to your shock. Probably all this crazy stuff, probably the most crazy thing is it's the end of June today, and this bike, you can go buy this bike in dealers right now. I can leave this track and go buy a brand new YZ450. To me, that's pretty crazy. We, you know, we're gonna hammer this thing as much as we can, try to break it. I don't know if we can, but we're just gonna hammer the crud out of it for the next couple weeks, and then you can read all about it in the new issue of TransWorld Motocross.